Good evening, everyone. I'm glad everybody was there to make it, or maybe you're listening to the recording. Let's get into it. Today, we're going to talk about a very, very popular topic amongst everyone, but especially amongst women, and that's the idea of iron imbalances. Many people have low iron, low iron anemia. We have the opposite where people can have high iron. Iron seems to be a very, very common challenge amongst a lot of people balancing it. Low iron, high iron. How do I get a balance? So I want to take some excerpts from my course, Mastering Iron Balance, and give you a little bit of some insights and what's really causing iron to be imbalanced in the body, the importance of iron being balanced, symptoms of it not being imbalanced, and specifically you being on the ULT program, the Ultimate Lifestyle Transformation Program, how this program is going to help you support rebuilding that. So let's get started. The first one I want to talk about is my philosophy. Where am I coming from when I talk about iron balance, right? So for people who don't know me, my name is Ian Hossein. I'm ToxFree on Instagram. And I'm a holistic health practitioner. I have a clientele and I do a lot of advocacy online about reframing and having people understand their body in a way that's empowering, in a way that works, that helps them move the needle in their health. And that comes with a philosophy. How do I approach the body? You come to me with symptoms, you come to me with illnesses, you come to me with a pile of diagnoses. How do I even start looking and understanding how the body works in order to help it? The first one is my philosophy. Everything the body does is intelligent. Symptoms are signals, they're responses. What your body is trying to do is always trying to balance things, manage things based on the nutrition you give it, the toxicity it's dealing with, the inflammation that it's dealing with, the hidden infections and pathogens that live in you rent free, and also stress and exhausted metabolic pathways. Your body at every moment is trying to make the best decision on what it needs to do to keep you functioning. The body does not make mistakes, right? I know that's a very common thing for people to think malfunctions, my body's malfunctioning, my body's broken, it's not working. None of that's going to work if you want to work with your body to help it move in a direction that you want it to go, which is somewhere where it's healthier. Symptoms are signals, like I said, they're not failures. It's natural to think I got something in me, I got some toxicity or some kind of infection. It's really doing something to me. Oftentimes, that thing it's doing is not the infection acting on you or the toxicity, it's your body trying to handle it. So many symptoms are your body trying to deal with whatever stressors that are on it. And again, the same thing as low iron is protection, it's not malfunction. If your body's not ready to absorb, metabolize, assimilate, use iron, it's not necessarily the case that you're going to pile on a bunch of iron in ingestion and everything's going to be better. So we have to understand that when it comes to different things, high and low in the body, your body always has a reason. And the key thing is to understand why that reason is there. Our job in many ways, especially when it comes to anything that's low or high, is to remove the blocks that are causing those certain levels or things in the body to be low or high in the first place. And we're going to talk about that. So let's talk about low iron. Low iron is a signal. Because here's the thing, there really is no such thing as low iron or high iron. It's all about iron regulation. Many things that we call levels, whether it be blood sugar, whether it be called hormones, whether it be your estrogen, your cortisol, or even whether it be your iron, your ferritin, or your total iron binding capacity. All of these exist in tightly regulated systems in order for you to function based on what you want. It's not simply the fact that a iron level is low that matters, but understanding what that low means in the fact that your body's trying to regulate things. Low iron and high iron is really signs of dysregulation. And iron is not simply just something that's high or low in the body. Iron is absorbed, it's distributed, it's dispatched for immunity, for hormones, for metabolism, for cellular metabolism. It goes everywhere. So simply just looking at a level and saying that it's low doesn't really have the picture. What somebody must understand is if you have low or high iron, it's very likely that your body is struggling to regulate the iron for different reasons, right? Absorption might be down regulated. Sometimes if you have enough iron or if you have trouble trying to manage iron in your body's not going to absorb any to keep it regulated. Transportation might be impaired. Your iron may be high, you may be getting enough iron, but you don't necessarily have the minerals and nutrients needed specifically for iron to be transported. The issue is not the level, it's getting the iron to the particular places you want to go, right? Recycling might be inefficient. That's another thing. You may be ingesting in a lot of iron, but your body's not able to cycle it properly, and that's why you're losing it. Another a possibility is if you're high iron, your body's high in iron because you're not able to recycle it and reuse it, right? So oftentimes this can indicate inefficiencies in your body regulating. And another thing, and I'm going to say this often, inflammation is one of the number one reasons why iron stays low. It could also be high, but often low in the body. Inflammation scavenges iron, consumes iron, depletes iron, displaces iron, and oftentimes chronic inflammatory conditions can be one of the common reasons why your iron stays low. All right. So the point is that iron dysregulation is never random, and we're going to use the word dysregulation. There's no such thing as low iron or high iron any more than there's low blood sugar, high blood sugar. These are all dysregulated systems, and the goal is to really put that regulation back into order. So the beautiful complexity of iron. Iron is an amazing mineral, right? You know, after things like magnesium, which is involved in over like 600 biochemical reactions in your body, calcium and trace minerals, iron is an amazing thing. It does so many things in the body, right? Absorption begins in the stomach and the small intestines. So you eat it, you consume it, right? Hopefully you're able to break it down to liberate the iron from your food, and then you're able to absorb it. But once you absorb it, that's not simply the thing. Your body needs to transport it to all the different places that it needs to go, right? And that requires minerals and nutrients. And this is an important point. Iron in itself is not simply enough unless you wrap it with all the minerals and cofactors it needs to do its job. This is why I talk a lot about having a broad spectrum of minerals and nutrients in your diet, not trying to chase one particular supplement that has one mineral or the other. Storage depends on liver function. This is another important thing. Not only do you have to be absorbing your iron in your diet, you have to have the key minerals and nutrients to ensure that it's transported to the places it needs to be, or else you will show symptoms of it being low. But also liver. Your liver is the key organ in the regulation of iron in the body. So iron health and liver health are basically the same thing. If you want to take care of your iron levels, or for clients that I work with that try to rebuild their iron, liver work is always very important. Red blood cell production depends on bone marrow as well. So we know that iron is very important for oxygenation, not only in red blood cells, but even in metabolism in your mitochondria, even in your bone marrow. The point is that iron is basically everywhere. Iron health is health, right? Part of everybody's getting healthy and improving their health is ensuring that they have good iron levels. Now, if your iron levels are balanced, we don't worry about it. For a lot of people who have low ferritin or low iron markers or even high iron markers, a significant part of their healing journey will be trying to ensure that the body can regain the ability to regulate it. So what happens is if iron is off? And many people know this. If you're anemic or low iron, you're going to feel fatigued. You're going to have low stamina. You're going to have cold hands and feet. This has to do with a lot of circulation, oxygenation, even metabolism. Hair thinning as well is another significant factor. Irregular cycles. Iron is so important for hormones. Give me one second. For female hormones as well as male hormones, but as well as female hormones, right? Anxiety and poor stress tolerance, right? Iron is what makes you, I mean, iron is a very strong mineral, and it only makes sense that the iron being a strong mineral makes you stronger too. When your iron levels are balanced, you have lots of energy. You have good stamina. You have good oxygenation, good blood flow to your extremities, right? Your hair is rich. You have really good cycles because you have ample iron to build the lining during the uterine lining, and also things like regulation, nervous system regulation. Low iron or high iron is also connected to the ability to manage things like nerves and stress and anxiety. So having a really good iron is very important. And iron imbalance is systemic, not isolated. A lot of people talk ferritin. I have low ferritin, not realizing that what we really have is just if you show any kind of symptoms, even if your ferritin is fine, oftentimes the symptoms itself can indicate that while your ferritin is high, iron may not be getting into the right places it needs to fulfill all the functions. The point is, you can have iron problems even though your ferritin's high. Likewise, you can have low iron as well, but simply seeing low ferritin is not enough. You'd have to look at all the things going on in your body to really understand where the iron is trying to go and where it's struggling to do the functions it needs to do. So let's talk about five core things. So people here are on the ULT. And I have to say, first and foremost, congratulations. If you are on the ULT program, you have made a choice that a lot of people aren't making. You are of the 1%. You have chose to honor your body and what it needs. Whole foods and deep nutrition, something that your body was used to getting, your ancestors were used to getting, but because of modern agriculture and farming and things like that, we've lost it. You've chosen to build a foundation of nutrition detox that honors your body and works with your body, parasite cleansing, sleep support, even things that brings down inflammation. Many of the core things you need to rebuild your iron are included in the ULT program. And it's not simply just the ULT program itself. It's not a push for the ULT program because you're already on it. But what the ULT program is doing is it's allowing to address many of the foundational things you need that cause iron to be rebuilt in the beginning. So this is an important thing. So if you're on the ULT, I'm going to give you core things about the ULT and how it's helping you. And the key thing is to extract why the ULT is helping. And I'm going to show you that here. The first one is the ULT does gut healing. Healing the gut is one of the first things that you need to do in order to raise iron levels in the body. We know this, a lot of people know this, that you have to have good iron and good absorption, but it's more than that. It's really just more than just healing the gut. When you eat anything that's high iron, whether that be beef or you're doing liver capsules or anything else, you need to have good stomach acid. In order to have good stomach acid, you need to have good mineral intake because in order to produce stomach acid, you need to have good calcium levels. In order to have good calcium levels, you need to have good magnesium levels. In order to have good magnesium levels, you need to have good absorption in your gut to absorb all those minerals. Okay? So, part of that is having a really good gut that can digest, break down the food, and absorb it, right? So, iron absorption requires good stomach acid. Dysbiosis reduces mineral take. So that's important. If you have H. pylori, if you have any kind of dysbiosis, any kind of bad bacteria, any kind of SIBO, that's going to stop your body from being able to absorb all the wonderful iron that's in your diet. And therefore, you're going to be low iron as well. This is a beautiful thing about the ULT. ULT provides whole food nutrition to rebuild the gut lining. You're doing the biomimetic, which helps increase gut intestinal integrity. You're doing the power shake, which nourishes your gut. The biomimetic also has some prebiotic fibers. So the nice thing about the program is it's doing one of the first things everybody needs to do is to heal and seal the gut lining and make sure that gut absorption of minerals and nutrients in the gut is perfect. All right. You're also doing clean food. Contaminated food is one thing that a lot of people never consider when it comes to balancing iron. Is your food pure or is it filled with mold? Is it filled with glyphosate, herbicides, and pesticides? Right? Is it organic, right? Clean food is just so important. Not only that, but herbicides and pesticides, things like glyphosate, will pull minerals from the food. So if you're eating things heavy in glyphosate, it's going to also pull minerals and make it very difficult for you to absorb iron, right? Another thing is other things like modern grains, these glutens, these modern hybridized wheats. They spike your insulin. They cause dysbiosis in the gut. They inflame your gut as well. So one thing that I always advocate for people is going gluten-free or avoiding these modern hybridized wheats because that's going to cause dysbiosis, which affects iron absorption. It's going to inflame your gut, and inflammation makes lowers iron, right? And it's just going to cause really a bad dysbiosis and inflammation in the body. So gut healing, what you're doing on the ULT, is the number one first step that we can do to help rebalance iron. And when we talk about iron, we're talking about building a foundation. It's not just saying I'm doing gut healing, that's it. It's not like a checklist. Rebuilding iron in the body is all about building the foundation. And the first foundation to everybody is ensuring you're getting all the nutrition that you need. After that, you work on gut healing, which is what the ULT is doing. The second one is removing parasitic and microbial competition, right? Parasites, yeast, mold, bad bacteria, H. pylori, all these compete for those minerals and nutrients. They need minerals and nutrients to live as well. They will also absorb a lot of minerals and nutrients. They will also block mineral and nutrient absorption across the gut lining. So, an important thing in ensuring that your gut can absorb all that iron that you're eating so that your iron can go up is ensuring that not only your gut is healed and sealed, but that also it is clear of significant levels of parasites, which consume iron, chronic gut infections that can raise inflammation, which consumes iron, and also just lowering inflammation, just bringing down those pathogenic infections. So we've seen it. We've seen people in ULT, they've passed parasites, biofilms, white yeast, bad bacteria. People even pass undigested food. All these things that fester and are just breeding grounds for bad bacteria. A lot of these things clear in the ULT program, right? Which is really good. So the ULT program is not only helping you heal your gut, but it's also bringing down these pathogens that are known. Parasitic infections are known as being one of the number one things in terms of infections that lower iron or consume iron, making it difficult for your body to regulate it. Okay, so you're doing the Super Cleansar, which supports parasite cleansing. You're also doing the Biometic, which is my go-to probiotic for everybody, because that's three things. It has the three essential things you need to heal your gut: a spore-based probiotic, fulvic and humic acids to provide key minerals and nutrients, and as a binder. And then also has some chicory root, which is an inulin fiber, which helps feed your gut. So you get the weed, feed, and seed in the Biometic. And also the Biometic and also the entire program has been shown to bring down CRP levels, bring down inflammation. You bring down inflammation, iron rises. These are the things. Bring down inflammation, iron rises. Increase your gut integrity and your gut lining integrity, iron rises. Bring down pathogenic infections, iron rises. These are things that you're doing along the ULT program. The next thing is restoring mineral balance, right? Iron requires many other co-minerals and co-nutrients to work, right? Iron requires, for example, copper for transport, right? Copper is an essential kind of co-mineral needed for iron to get where it needs to go so that the iron fulfills its function so you don't have the symptoms of low iron. Zinc is very important. Zinc excess can suppress copper, right? We know this. So if you're overdoing zinc, this is why isolated supplements you have to be very careful. You're overdoing zinc because they tell you zinc is really good for fighting infections. While that's true, that doesn't necessarily mean you take isolated zinc. People take isolated zinc to deal with infections. That lowers copper. You lower copper, you lower the key mineral or the co-mineral that's needed for iron to become transported, right? So the key thing is not about supplementing. This is why I advocate we don't supplement with one particular mineral. Just because you're low in magnesium doesn't mean you take magnesium. Just because you're low in calcium doesn't mean you take calcium, right? It's all about ensuring that your body gets a broad spectrum of minerals and nutrients, such as in the green shake, right? Such as in, people can do it in meats as well. There's also other salts and seaweed. There's all sea moss. There's all different types of sources of getting balanced minerals and nutrients. But the key thing is nobody should ever try to turn the knob on one particular mineral, hoping that it gets better. Throw your body a broad spectrum of minerals and nutrients, which you're doing with the Power Shake, and your body will fill the gaps in a way that's balanced. Okay. So how the ULT helps, you're already getting whole food mineral density. You're getting the green shake is giving your magnesium and your calcium and your trace minerals like copper and selenium, even things like minerals like iodine, which is very important as well for your thyroid, which is an important part of balancing iron too. I talk about that more in my course, but we won't talk about do. But your thyroid is very, very important for iron balance as well. The ionic elements as well. Some people are taking the ionic elements for more kind of trace mineral support. That's really, really good for helping your body rebuild iron. And also, balanced nutrition prevents antagonism. What do I mean by that? Some minerals are very important for helping iron move and balance and metabolize. But sometimes if you have too much of it, if you overtake too much, that can have the opposite effect. And we gave the example of zinc. If it's in excess, it suppresses copper. If it suppresses copper, it's going to suppress zinc transport, right? So the point is when you're doing something like the Power Shake, the dark berry protein, right? Things that are whole food sources, you're getting balanced nutrition in a way where your body sees it in a way that's already balanced in the plants. So it doesn't have to worry about throwing off any type of level in the body. All right. Reducing systemic inflammation. This is the most important thing. If there's one thing you take from this talk, it's bring down inflammation. Bring down systemic inflammation. Where's the inflammation in your gut? Inflammation in your skin, inflammation in your body, like just in chronic systemic inflammation lowers iron, right? So inflammation raises something called hepcidin. Hepcidin is a hormone that communicates iron storage, right? When it goes up, your body holds on to iron. And if it holds on to iron, it's not being distributed in the body for usage. Hepcidin blocks iron absorption because if you have high inflammation, your body doesn't want to absorb iron. It wants to deal or work with the iron that you have. Chronic stress, right, also suppresses utilization. Why? Because when you're very, very stressed, you spike your cortisol. A high chronic cortisol state makes you inflamed. And if you are inflamed, you're going to raise those hepcidin levels and you're going to just lower iron usage. Your body just stores the iron and waits for conditions to be better. All right. So bringing down inflammation is very, very important. How does the ULT help with that? So the plant nutrients in the power shake are anti-inflammatory, and there's a lot of antioxidants and phytonutrients. That's very good. There's also omega now in the ULT. There's an omega, the alpha omega, which is providing DHA and EPA, essential fatty acids that are really good for helping regulate inflammation. Another thing that I want to say, just as a reframe, is inflammation is not bad. All right, inflammation stuck is bad. But inflammation is just your body trying to clear infections and clear toxicity and clear things in the body. Inflammation is good. The key thing is to help your body work through the inflammation so it can move on to other processes after that, such as rebuilding the tissue and things like that. What is bad is oftentimes when people stay stuck in an inflammatory state because they're not nourishing their body. They're not dealing with chronic infections. They're not dealing with pathogens. They're not dealing with stress. So you stay stuck in this inflammatory state. That's the thing that really keeps iron low and keeps people unwell. So on the ULT, you're doing the power shake, so you're flooding your body with minerals and nutrients and cofactors necessary for iron and helping, feed your gut. There's also the alpha omega, which provides essential fatty acids, which is really good for supporting the inflammation so it can begin and come to an end. And also things like improved blood sugar, lower stress signaling. So a lot of ways that we can manage cortisol is to because when you spike cortisol, your body produces sugar so you can feed your nervous system and your fight or flight response. That's another topic on its own. Having your body metabolically be able to handle the spike in sugar caused by the cortisol is the way you can control that cortisol from not leading to high inflammation. So how is the ULT helping that? Well, one, you're feeding your gut. Feeding your gut and good gut health helps with blood sugar management. You're flooding your body with trace minerals from the power shake. Trace minerals is the number one way, mineral wise, to help your body be able to balance blood sugar. Another thing is you're taking the super aminos, and the super aminos allows you to build some lean muscle. You build a little bit of lean muscle. Muscles are very, very sugar and energy hungry. You build a little muscle, all that sugar produced from the cortisol, you're able to metabolize. All right. So this is why building muscle is medicine. Muscle is really good for your mood. Muscle is really good for managing your body because it helps those cortisol spikes be steadied a little bit more because your muscles just absorb all the sugar. Okay. But the key thing here is anything you can do to bring down inflammation, do it. From going gluten-free, organic, taking the Biomedic, you're on the ULT as well, not eating inflammatory foods. Seed oils can be inflammatory when you cook with them. High chronic stress states, living in mold. There's a lot of things that cause inflammation. Anything that you can do to bring down exposures that cause inflammation will help overall with you being able to rebuild iron in the body. All right. The next thing is support your liver and protein status. Like I said, the key organ that helps you regulate iron is your liver. All right. Most people know that. And that's why you take like liver capsules and things like that. Liver support is iron support. Iron health is liver health. They're basically the same things. You can do a lot to help your ferritin, your iron levels, just by improving liver. And what do we mean by improving the liver function? Getting good bile flow, right? And that means key minerals and nutrients that are needed for the liver to flow. One is copper. Copper is very important for bile and liver flow. And it's also important for iron, right? So the liver stores and regulates iron. So nourishing your liver, right? Having foods that are easy for your liver to handle, right? Such as the power shake, that's easy to digest, easy to absorb. The super aminos, which are very easy on your kidneys, very, very easy on your liver. These are important things to help your liver kind of heal itself, right? So transferrin is a protein dependent. So transferrin is another thing that's involved in iron. This depends on a lot of protein. We're going to talk about protein. Low protein also equals poor transport. So protein is very, very important. When we talk a lot about protein, what we really mean to say is essential amino acids or amino acids. Most protein that you eat eventually gets broken down in your gut in the fundamental amino acids that your body needs. Amino acids are so important for the regulation, the utilization, even the transport of iron. And one thing that a lot of people don't talk about when it comes to iron is getting enough protein intake, right? Protein is so important not only for iron, but also things like detox. If your liver's lacking key amino acids, it will actually break down the proteins from the liver just to help itself detox. So, key things to help with balancing iron is really, really good liver support. If you're on the ULT, the key minerals and nutrients, the alkalization from the power shake, the super cleanser, which can help kick out any kind of liver flukes or parasites that you have in your liver, these things will help with really good liver flow, and then bringing down inflation will help. If another option people have is if you're doing the dark berry protein, that's a really good source of protein that can help if you're trying to work specifically to trying to help with liver issues and iron issues. But also the super amino will also be very good because it will provide key amino acids that are needed for your liver to function as well. So you're also getting clean protein from the power shake. There's protein in the power shake, so that's really good. And you're getting the best form, easy to digest, regenerative forms. Like I said, the amino acids support the transport of proteins, which is very important. And the super amino is the best aminos you can get. We know this gets into the bloodstream within 23 minutes, 99% or greater utilization. Nutrient density supports liver pathways. So, flooding your body with minerals and nutrients, one of the first things that people see when they take the power shake is they get a lot of energy. One of the reasons why I'd say is because your liver's flowing. And when your liver flows, you can manage blood sugar, you can manage energy and things like that. That's why I tell a lot of people don't do coffee, work on your liver, right? If you work on your liver, you wouldn't need coffee anymore. All right. One thing we also have to remember is that iron is a network. It's a network. Iron is used in your gut, your liver. It's used in mineral balances, in fighting stress or managing stress, inflammation, right? When one shifts, all shifts. This is very, very important. Okay. So if your gut's not absorbing the iron you need to take on the daily, other things will shift in order to balance that. Maybe your gut's perfectly fine, but you got some parasites living in your liver rent free, or you got some stagnant liver. Everything else will shift, right? Same thing with minerals, your little minerals, right? Half of Americans aren't getting their daily magnesium intake, and magnesium is the master mineral. No other mineral works without that. You're low in magnesium, your body will store it. It will hold on to the iron it has. Certain things will shift metabolically, right? So all these things are connected, right? Stress as well, inflammation, all of these things are connected, right? And this is why iron absorption, iron regulation are very, very important. We should never look at things isolated. Definitely, if you have gut issues and your iron issues are related to your gut, most likely you have issues with your liver. Most likely you have issues with your minerals. Most likely you have issues with stress or chronic stress. Most likely you have issues with inflammation. All of these are different flavors of the same kind of ice cream, so to speak, or the same food. All right. Why supplementing on iron alone fails, right? There's many different reasons. I get it. Some people need to supplement with iron and take iron supplements and stuff like that, right? First of all, iron supplementation ignores regulation. You just give yourself serum iron, hopefully absorb it and things get better. While that can help, it can make things worse. First of all, a lot of iron supplements, right, can worsen oxidative stress. A lot of iron supplements are very inflammatory. And if we're trying to balance iron, we're trying to bring down the inflammation, right? They can cause a little gut irritation. There's the inflammation as well. It can throw off stomach acid. There's iron absorption as well. It can deplete copper. So taking very, very high amounts of iron can pull copper more than is needed. And then it depletes copper, and copper is really needed for many other processes in the body, including your liver, right? It also doesn't fix the terrain, right? So I get it. Some people are on iron supplementation because they need to because their iron is so low. But don't let whatever iron supplementation help you ignore the foundational work that you have to do in order to rebuild that iron for the long term. Iron must be earned by the body. You need to work on your gut. You need to work on your liver. You need to work on your nervous system. You need to work on your mineral imbalances. All of these are needed to rebuild the iron. So the point is, it's not simply, it's just I'm going to take a supplement and things are going to be better. I'm going to take beef liver capsules and things are going to be better. Some people do. Some people are lucky. They take beef liver capsules and they're perfectly fine. But other people, they have to see iron as something that has to be built and building that foundation. And the ULT really helps with that foundation. Okay. The ULT's foundation, I just said that, right? It's not about more iron, all right? The solution to dealing with low iron issues and even high iron is not about more or less. It's about rebuilding the terrain in your gut. It's about reducing inflammation. It's about restoring mineral balance by giving your body a broad spectrum of minerals. It's about supporting the detox pathways. It's about clearing infections, all right? The foundation always comes first. Fine tuning is later. So if your gut is healed and sealed, your nutrition is really, really high, pathogens are gone, inflammation's gone, then you can have some fun. If you need to do some supplementation here and there, just as a polish, that's perfectly fine. But if you haven't built that foundation, you shouldn't really expect supplementation to work or to last. Or what you'll find is that supplementation will help, but at the expense of other things that goes on in your body, because a lot of these supplements can be very irritating. So this is about regulation, not about chasing markers. Everybody who comes to me, they always say low ferritin, low ferritin, I have low ferritin, low ferritin. Well, tell me more about that. What is low ferritin caused by? Inflammation, gut dysbiosis, stagnant liver, lack of key minerals and nutrients, right? Low ferritin is we don't chase numbers. We ask why that ferritin is low in the first place. And the reason why is some of the reasons that I gave in the previous slides. Symptoms tell a story. What are your symptoms if you're suffering or if you think you have low iron or high iron? Are you tired? Do you have heart? You have challenging cycles? Do you have poor oxygenation? Are you cold all the time? Oftentimes, those symptoms will tell you where or what specifically in terms of the iron imbalances you need to work on. Regulation restores resilience. That's the important thing. You can take all the iron supplements you want, but it's not necessarily going to make you resilient to if you don't take that, or you have a stressful event, or all you have a chronic inflammatory event, and all of a sudden all that iron's consumed and your supplements aren't working. Systems thinking changes outcomes. Very important. You have to see iron is something that's just not high or low, but something that needs to be regulated in the body. And that's the case for everything. There are no hormone imbalances. There's hormone dysregulation that has to be put back into balance, all right, or into regulation. There's no such thing as blood sugar imbalance. It's about blood sugar dysregulation. It's the same thing. There's really no such thing as high or low iron. It's all about iron dysregulation, all right? Remove the blocks. The body does rest. That's the important thing. Listen, your body doesn't want to be low or high iron. Your body wants to regulate. It's trying to. It's all about you helping it remove those blocks. A biggest block that most people in the United States are starting from is just deep, deep nutritional deficiencies. Magnesium and calcium and trace minerals and copper and things like that, they're just not getting from their diet. That causes a block. You replace that, iron finds balance. Parasite infections and bad bacteria and yeast and candida and things like that, those are blocks from absorption of iron and processing iron. You remove those things, find balance. Your body wants to find balance, it needs help. So iron is balanced, not forced. We want to restore it. And if you rebuild the digestion, minerals, detox inflammation, iron finds its balance and iron begins to regulate naturally. Iron wants to regulate, you just need the help. So I will.